Hey Mountaineers, Jordan from Mountway Finance here. I was reflecting on a Four Corners report from last night called Empty Promises, which is about the National Disability Housing Scheme and how unscrupulous property developers and spruikers, agents and whatnot, were selling bad investments to unsuspecting investors, and they were losing their money. And there was certainly, these are cases that they pointed out in this show of actual fraud, people who were seriously unscrupulous. But it pointed out another interesting thing about this scheme, and that is that it attracted investors because of huge rental yields. So the idea is that the government, through the NDIS, would pay rent on specialised housing for disabled people so that they could live more independently. And it's a great idea, but the execution is clearly lacking. It brought to my mind some points about yield in investing. Now, yield is another word for income, and it is basically rent that you receive in housing. So when you invest in housing, in most places in Australia, we're talking cities, yield is very low. Yield is in fact something like 2 to 3% in Sydney. Right, and even with these interest rate reductions that we're seeing down to sort of 5.5% levels, yield is not sufficient to pay the interest on a mortgage, let alone the principal, and let alone the cost of owning the property. But in many other cases, yield is more than your repayments and more than the cost of owning the property. I'm very familiar with this coming from Karratha in the country's northwest, where yield is what it's all about here. We have a tight market here, we have corporate renters, and we're also remote. Now, generally what you see is yield is a trade-off for certainty around the capital growth story, right? And what that means, let's go back to the city example, is low yield, but you're pretty certain, or you're pretty comfortable that property will grow in value. So when you miss out on income over your holding period, you will get in growth in that value. So you can sell that property for a profit down the track. Now, generally the rule is where you don't see yield, you see growth in over time, and vice versa. So high yield properties are going to not really demonstrate or guarantee that capital growth. And it's an interesting point with this NDIS. We're very familiar with this concept here in Karratha and the strategies which attached to yield-based investments. When it comes to the NDIS, some of the interesting things that weren't brought up in this Four Corners report is just what other considerations investors need to think about when it comes to focusing on yield as an investment. And here they are. For example, these are specialised houses, right? So they are made for disabled people. They've got wider hallways, wider doors, they've got special bathrooms, a lot of aids installed into the house. Some of them have smart technology throughout. And what this means is a few things. Firstly, there is a limited market for that. A lot of people, we may not want to admit this, but a lot of people don't necessarily want to live in a house that's been built around disability in mind. So these are highly modified houses, and they don't look exactly like what you might expect a house to look like. They feel a bit more hospital-like potentially, right? So they do have a limited market. That is, the people who are going to live there are more than likely going to be people who are on the NDIS receiving rent subsidy from the government. Okay, so that is your market, right? It's not a broad appeal, it's a very specific appeal. And that has a few things. The yield that you're going to get comes from a very specific. And if you're going to sell that house in future, really you're only selling it to another investor who is focusing on the NDIS market as tenants, or perhaps it may be a disabled person who wants to buy that house for themselves, but it still is a limited market. So your prospects of capital growth are more limited because you're dealing with a more limited market and a more limited appeal. And there's another really important thing, particularly with the NDIS houses, and I must say in Karratha here too, it is an issue, and that is that these houses need a lot of repairs and maintenance. There's a lot of additional things installed into these houses to make the lives of disabled people much easier. For example, motorised desktops that rise up and down. Right, these things have a tendency to break over time, and that's just more maintenance that you wouldn't get with a traditional house. And you see that in terms of your rent being reduced by the cost of these ongoing maintenance matters that you have to address. So, you know, there's always this trade-off with the yield. I mentioned Karratha is a tough environment up here, so, you know, the maintenance problems that comes with these houses are just that things break faster. You got more calcium in the water, you know, so reticulation in the gardens will pop. But we're not here to talk about Karratha. Back to the National Disability Housing Scheme. So chasing yield is not just about making sure that you're dealing with the right people, as the Four Corners report pointed out, but also considering the trade-off. That yield comes at a price, and generally that price is the capital growth story that you might see down the track. Okay, all right, so now banks are very aware of this, right? If that is an issue, trust me, they have already thought about it. And that's why they have limited appetite for finance for NDIS houses. They'll still do it, but you know, your deposit needs to be larger, for example, and there's certain restrictions around loans. So that's to be thought about if you wanted to go into this area. As a final thought, I might just talk briefly around strategies. Where is yield appropriate, right? And this is really it's for everyone, but like if you're in the capital cities and you're largely investing in capital cities, what you'll find is because of the negative gearing effect of capital cities, so that is your yield is never going to cover the cost of owning that property. You'll find that your cash flow gets restricted over time as you bring on more investment properties, as many people want to do. You have this great capital growth potential, but your cash flow gets dried up. So chasing yield or mixing yield into the investment mix at that point in time can be really beneficial to bolster up your cash flow and keep that investment story going. Now, there's a whole other area where yield can be important, particularly when investing through trusts and particularly when investing through superannuation. In those situations, capital growth is possibly less important, but we get into a whole space of tax and future planning advice that can come from your accountant and your financial planner. That's my thought for the day, guys. Until next time, have a great day.